Shalom uvracha from Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh. With the help of Hashem, we continue this evening with our joint study of the ethics of the fathers of Pirkei Avot, and currently we are studying chapter 2, Mishna 2, Perek Bet, Mishna Bet of Pirkei Avot. The teacher of our Mishnah this evening is someone by the name of Gamliel. Gamliel. Now, Gamliel, there are several great rabbis, all seemingly from that great family, who are called Rabban Gamliel, and one has to be careful whenever studying Talmudic passages to make sure they're identifying the correct Rabban Gamliel. There were at least three major Rabban Gamliel known to us. There's someone called Rabban Gamliel Hazaken, the older Rabban Gamliel. There's Rabban Gamliel Diavne, and then there's Rabban Gamliel of our Mishnah. Interestingly enough, this is of course, the youngest of all of them, and he's the son, as it says in our Mishnah, Rabban Gamliel Beno Shel Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. That's a little surprising because Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi seemingly edited or authored the Mishnah, and we have references beyond Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. We have his son, and some will say we'll learn with the help of Hashem when we learn Mishnah. Hey, I hope within a few sessions we'll discuss which Hillel. Some say his son is mentioned. Some say the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi is mentioned. So it's not really so clear that if you want to study the Mishnah and think that Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi is the absolute end of the Mishnah, it doesn't seem to fit many of the passages. I had a great teacher of blessed memory, Rabbi Professor Simcha Feldblum, who we spent a considerable amount of time studying the idea of exactly what the role of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi was in terms of the Mishnah, but it doesn't seem to be that that's the absolute end. And with Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi left this world, the Mishnah was absolutely completed because we have references beyond Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi in the Mishnah. You could say that maybe the father was quoting his son, and that he was still alive when this Mishnah was written. I saw someone writing such a thing. It's possible, but I don't think that's the consensus of opinion of the commentaries. Let's learn together Mishnah Bet. Those are following. Again, chapter 2, Mishnah 2. Rabban Gamliel Beno Shel Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi Omer. We spoke about Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi in several of our last classes. One of the most outstanding figures in world Jewish history. His son, Rabban Gamliel, teaches Yafeh Talmud Torah im Derech Eretz. Yafeh Talmud Torah im Derech Eretz. How beautiful is the study of Torah when combined with Derech Eretz. Yafeh, it's so beautiful. The question of what Derech Eretz means, we will learn maybe two approaches. There are more. Derech Eretz, according to many of the commentaries, means together with some level of an occupation, some level of work, some level of a person finding a source of sustenance. Derech Eretz, the way of the world to engage in some type of activity, which would bring a source of income to the person. At least on one level, what's being said here is perhaps it's not sufficient merely to study Torah, although studying Torah is one of the most outstanding accomplishments that any Jew could be involved in. According to Rabban Gamliel, you should combine that with some level of Derech Eretz, some level of an occupation which would bring about the totality of blessing. Sheigiat shnehem mashkachat avon. That toiling in both of these areas together will keep a person away from sin. As you know, there's a vast literature about the concept of people studying full time. May all of the Torah students, may all of the Kollel students, may all of the Kollel rabbis and teachers, may they all be blessed. And there is surely an opinion that says that we highly regard and respect all of those great people who are dedicating their lives exclusively to studying Torah. The question is, it is a famous mahaloket in Tractate Brachot, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Yishmael, and Harbe Asu ki Rabbi Shimon v'lo alta biyadam. The question is whether everyone should follow that pattern, or is that a particular pattern only for select individuals? We understand and we respect the fact that we always had a very serious group of people who were dedicating themselves always to the study of Torah. Some say maybe the tribe of Levi was that way, and we have much less than that, which so much fewer people today studying than a percentage of an entire tribe. But whatever it is, the general masses perhaps should follow this pattern of Talmud Torah im derech eretz. According to one interpretation, it doesn't just mean that you should go to work and combine work with your study of Torah, which is the way some commentaries read it. Maybe Yafet Talmud Torah im derech eretz could be understood to mean that when you are involved in derech eretz, when you are involved in whatever you're doing, whatever occupation you have, whatever field of profession you choose, wherever you're doing, if you're working in any labor, any skilled labor, any unskilled labor, if you're working as a physician, if you're working as an electrician, as a plumber, as a lawyer, as a professor, as a researcher, if you have a business endeavor, if you're pursuing your own products and you have patents, whatever you're doing, make sure, according to one reading, and I saw this in the name of the Baal Shem Tov, and I saw it in the name of some of the great Hasidic rabbis, specifically Rav Aharon of Karlin, and others, that make sure that together with the Derech Eretz, you have Talmud Torah. For two reasons. Don't forget about the study of Torah. Don't think, okay, so now I'm working. I'm a full-time laborer. I go to work, many hours a day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. And therefore, chas v'shalom, I could forget about Talmud Torah. No matter what you're involved in. In derech eretz, make sure that you have Talmud Torah. Find time to study. Kovea itim la Torah. Kavata itim la Torah. Merely going to work, merely being involved in derech eretz, is not a heter. Does not permit a person to, God forbid, separate himself from the beautiful and precious, priceless gift that God gave us of Torah, because that's one of the most noble of all activities. And everyone is supposed to study Torah. Not only the rabbis, not only the teachers, everyone, Talmud Torah. This is a treasure of our nation. And there are certain religions where the clergy studies and the masses don't. But in Judaism, everybody's supposed to study. We're Vatem Te'iyuli, V'amlechet Kohanim. We're all supposed to be involved in Kohanim. We're all supposed to be involved in being learned. So according to one reading, Yafet Talmud Torah im derech eretz. Make sure that no matter what derech eretz you're doing, it doesn't matter whatever area of business pursuit, whatever occupation you're involved in, make sure it's combined with Talmud Torah. The other interpretation that I saw in the name of the Baal Shem Tov is make sure that you are running your business in accordance with the Torah. You have a derech eretz, right? There's some people who maybe have a certain understanding of how to separate their business life from their religious life, God forbid. In other words, let's say, I'm talking, I hope, only theoretically. I'm not, God forbid, saying anything negative about anyone. But let's say theoretically, they're religious. They pray. They study. They observe the Torah, but then they enter the business world, and they enter the business world the same way, God forbid, a person who has nothing to do with Torah enters the business world. And whatever ways they can make money, even if it's dishonest, God forbid, that's the way they do it. They violate, they don't necessarily keep their word, they don't necessarily live up to the standards that the Torah demands. Yafet Talmud Torah in Derech Eretz. Make sure that together with the Derech Eretz that you're running, make sure that together with whatever occupation, whatever profession, that you study the words of the Torah. How exactly are you supposed to be running your business? How exactly are you supposed to be running your practice? How exactly are you supposed to show sensitivity? How honest? Where's the integrity in your business pursuit? It is not a free for all in terms of Derech Eretz and say that I could just leave Talmud Torah out of it. You have to be involved. Yafet Talmud Torah in Derech Eretz. And I read a story once, something along the lines of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, one of the great teachers of the previous generation. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, most well known for the fact that he was the head of the so-called Musar movement, where he was very insistent that people are very careful about their interpersonal activities. And he met a student that he hadn't seen in many years. And he meets his Talmid, he meets his student, and he says to him, "Wow, so tell me, how's it going? You're involved in shechita, right? You're involved in ritual slaughter?" So he says, quote a Rav, Rebbe, no, I'm not doing it. You're not a shochet? I remember you studying shechita. He says, "Yeah, Rebbe, I used to be a shochet, but I left that." He says, "Why'd you stop? Why are you no longer involved in shechita?" He says, "Rabbi, there are so many details that you have to know about. Exactly how to check the knife, and exactly which part of the animal has to be slaughtered, and exactly the examination of the internal organs. And it's such an awesome responsibility. I decided I can't do it. It's too much for me." So the rabbi says, "So what are you doing?" So he said, I went into business. To which Rabbi Yisrael Salanter was smiling. "What are you doing?" He said, "I went into business." "You went into business?" "Yeah, Rabbi, I couldn't take the awesome responsibility of all the laws of the Torah connected to ritual slaughter." He says, "My dear friend, there are many, many more laws about honest business than there are about honest and proper ritual slaughter. If you look at Yored De'ah, how many chapters are dedicated to Hilchot Shechita, to the laws of Shechita? But look at Choshen Mishpat, he said. Look at the laws. Do you know how many thousands and thousands of laws you have to know? Do you know how many thousands and thousands of laws you have to fulfill in order to properly run a Torah-oriented business? So one of the questions on Judgment Day is, Nasata v'natata be'emunah. Were you honest in your business dealings? And maybe that's connected to Yafet Talmud Torah im Derech Eretz. I said that there's another way of reading this, and the other way reads Derech Eretz. Many of us use the word Derech Eretz. If someone has Derech Eretz, so Derech Eretz has many meanings in Talmudic literature, but one of the meanings of Derech Eretz is a certain level of perfection of character. I'll read the Tiferet Yisrael. Similar kinds of ideas can be found much earlier in the commentary of the Meiri. The Tiferet Yisrael writes, "Yafet Talmud Torah." It is so beautiful when Talmud Torah is joined together, when Torah study is joined together im Derech Eretz. Limud HaTorah, quote, Tiferet Yisrael. Limud HaTorah hu rak yafeh kisheyesh imah musar va'anava. Torah study is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to learn. We love the Torah. Pikudei Hashem, Yesharim Misamachei Lev Torah. Tziva Lanu Moshe. We admire it. We love the Torah. We're in love with the Torah. There is no other profession there is no other discipline of study where people sing and dance with their books of law. There's no law school in the world where people get up and dance with law books as we do on Simchat Torah, right? We're hugging the Torah. Nobody kisses their law book. We love the Torah. Right? What? Yeah, no, we really do. We love the Torah. We sing. Is there one law school in the world where people sing? You ever go into a yeshiva where people are learning and they say Amar Abaye, Rav Amar, Rabbi. We're singing. It's a beautiful. We love the Torah, right? Talmud Torah is beautiful, but says the Tiferet Yisrael in his interpretation of our Mishnah, Yafeh Talmud Torah im derech eretz. If God forbid a person studies and doesn't internalize the messages, of the Torah. I mean, I'm not saying the Torah study is nothing, but that's not really the beautiful way to learn. If there's no musar, if there's no instructional messages that the person is able to glean from the Torah, he reads it as academic discipline, let's say. There's no anavah, there's no humility that the person is able to embody as a result of learning Torah. Maybe they're missing part of the point. And that's what it says here in the continuation of the Mishnah. Sheyigiat shnehem mashkachat avot. It is through toiling in both of these areas. If you exert yourself in both of these areas, in Talmud Torah, in derech eretz, however you learn both, it is only the joint process of Talmud Torah and derech eretz that will keep a person away from sinning. If a person thinks, well, I could just go to work and that's good enough, it's not so good enough, right? If a person says, I could just learn, that's good enough. Or if a person says, I learned, but I don't have to necessarily see the musar and anavah in the language of the Tiferet Yisrael. Maybe they're not yet fulfilling the teaching of Rabban Gamliel. Maybe it's Talmud Torah, but it's not yafeh. It's not a beautiful form of Torah. Yafeh, Talmud Torah. Some people translate, I saw many of the translations, they translate good. I'd like to translate beautiful. The beautiful form of Torah is when it's combined with derech eretz. We hope that all the people learning Torah should be blessed, and that we should appreciate their learning. You know, at our minyan, at our humble minyan at the Kotel, we try to say a prayer each week for the soldiers of Israel. May they all be blessed and protected. You know, and I felt many times that since some people don't appreciate the great students of Torah, maybe we should also say a prayer for the students of Torah and the teachers of Torah. And I suggested this to one of the great rabbis who prays with us. I said, what do you think about, we'll say a prayer for the soldiers, or we should say a prayer for the Torah students? And he says, no, that already exists. If you look at the Yukum Purkan, it's written in Aramaic, so not everyone understands it, but we have, thank God, translation. And the Yukum Purkan, we pray for the Rabbanan and Talmidei Hon. We pray for those. I have a siddur here in front of me. We pray for the benefit and the blessing. For the blessing of Rabban Maranan, Rabbanan, Chavurata Kadishata Dibara Yisrael. You know, L'chol Talmidei Hon, L'chol Talmidei Talmidei Hon. We pray. I say, yeah, but not everyone is so aware of that prayer. Maybe we should say the prayer slowly and maybe explain it. But whatever it is, may everyone be blessed, and when we find that proper path of Yafet Talmud Torah im derech eretz. Thank you so much for listening.